Seeing that it is 6:02 and our planning board member is ready, I now call the meeting to order at 6:02. First order of business, and it appears that we do have enough for a quorum, Sean, so we are ready to move forward with the order of business on tonight's agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
The first order of business is our approval of our minutes from our March 25th, 2025 meeting. If I may have a motion and a second, if there are any concerns or amendments for the minutes to be approved for our March 25th meeting.
Actually, I want to make a small change. It did hit me last night. It's interesting that it worked out a little bit because of with Wayne not being here on page number 3. On section 6 at the very bottom, it says it was motioned by the vice chair. I am not the vice chair. I was only the chair for one short period of time.
Yes, sir.
So that's the only change now.
And I give Ms. Jones to make those corrections, but we can still vote on it with
Yeah,
everybody.
that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was only just to make sure of it.
My name's backwards too, by the way.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
She sure did. I think that dance. I just saw that. I'll take care of it.
We have had a motion and a second with the noted changes. Are we ready for vote? All in favor? All opposed, the same sign?
Hey, who made that motion, Madam Chairwoman?
Yeah.
Eddie. And who seconded it?
Second.
Just Ted. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think it's here.
Been thrown out of office.
Next order of business is before us in arrived in our package that Sean so basically passed out ahead of time. Is the rezoning of the address 106 West Church Street from a B-2 to an O1.
Good evening, board, and thank y'all for coming out this evening for this rezoning. As you see in your packet that we sent out, there has been a rezoning request from the applicant, A&D Future Enterprise Corporation. They are here tonight to speak to the board on their behalf. They're asking for the lot, which is actually next door to the library, 106 West Church Street, to be rezoned from B2 Central Business to O&I. The property has a parcel number of 004586. It's within the town of Nashville zoning districts. And as I stated earlier, the applicants are here this evening. If you look north of this property, and I'm gonna get it up on the map as we go. If you look north, it is B1, business use. South of it is O&I, residential bed and breakfast. East is B2, the library, which is where we're in now, and downtown services, if you continue heading this way. And west is residential if you go this way of the property. B2, I think we all know what that zoning is our downtown central business zone where we're at. O&I think we discussed that plenty times and planning board meetings, no reason to go back down that road, but it's our most mixed use that we have in our zoning table. You can have residential, duplexes, you can do professional office space, and it's pretty much that zoning district that's set up for future growth. So if you do something, things can change in O&I where you can have a house in O&I within maybe 5-10 years, the whole area gets regentrified where now you can turn it into business structures, everything in there. If you look at the 2021 Town Nashville Comp Plan, it has this property slated as town center. Town center classification recognizes the importance of maintaining mixed use areas within the town. A mixture of government, private office, personal and professional service, retail establishments and residential units. Established community anchors encourage multi-model traveling. The blend of lands use should be encouraged to continue through reuse of the existing historic buildings with appropriate scale infill. Additional opportunities to include mixed-use residential facilities, pocket parks, or other pedestrian-friendly uses for future development and redevelopment within these locations. Preferred use in the town center and according to our comp plan is retail, professional service, restaurants, office, mixed-use residential, institutional uses, and government facilities. They do have considerations to look at, being that this will be more of an O&I for I take it a residential style, but we can find out from the applicant. But it sounds like from what the applicant has had discussion with, they're looking at more of the residential versus more of the institutional side of it. So it should be that we'll have to just look at with our rezoning to make sure that the residential does find fit in the zoning. Description of the property is 0.17 acres. The property is owned by AD Future Enterprise Corporation. It does have road frontage off West Church Street. It is down in our B2 zoning district. As we stated earlier, they're asking to be rezoned to O&I. Below is the comparison map. And if you look at this property, well, I pull up over here. And let me turn on the zone layer so the people in the audience can see.
Where's the library?
Right here. Here's the library and here's the lot. If you look at this property, they're asking for O&I because it touches the O&I zoning property already, which is the bed and breakfast behind us. But everything around it is B2. We have been in talking with the owners of the two adjacent properties to see if later on if things did go this way for O&I, and both boards did find it continue to rezone it, if they would be interested in maybe rezoning down the road to make this whole area O&I. But that's just some talk that we had when we were looking at the map even before this rezone came in for this area. But as I stated, our future land use has its town center. If you look on page number 1, 2, 3 in your packet where it says project history, we'll go through the project history. BVA Builders Corporation did submit an application on Wednesday, March 19, 2025. The property can be serviced by town water and sewer. We have discovered that it does have town water and sewer where it can be connected to. As right now, it's not connected, but it's running through the street. Public hearing notice were mailed out to 64 property owners within a 500-foot radius on April the 1st. The public hearing notice was placed on the town's website March 31st. The rezoning sign was posted on the property April the 2nd. Photos were taken and you can see them below in your packet. Legal notice was advertised in the Nashville Graphic for April 10th and 17th and 24th for this meeting, 24th and May 1st for the town council meeting. The front door of town hall was posted on April 9th. The front door of the H.D. Cooley Library and Parks Recreation Center was posted on April 9th. The Town of Nashville Technical Review Committee did meet on this rezoning request on March 24th, 2025, and they voted for approval or favor. They felt this rezoning was not considered spot zoning. The TRC will also meet again if this does pass rezoning, or if it doesn't pass rezoning and the owner decides to do something different with it, the TRC will meet on the site plan as far as the construction side of it once something has been submitted to the town. The subject property is not located within a floodplain. The subject property is not located within is located in Stony Creek, Upper Stony Creek sub-watershed. The subject property is not located within the NCDQ water supply watershed. The town of Nashville future land use has this existing property as town center. Comprehensive to land use plan. This request to amend the town of Nashville zoning as atlas is consistent with recommendations of the town of Nashville. Comprehensive plan because the subject property has access off East Washington Street and East M Street. And the town plan prefers mixed residential use within the town center. Reasonableness and spot zoning. General rezoning request RZ 2025-04 may be considered reasonable in the public interest because 1, the request is not spot zoning because the subject property will be rezoned to office institution where the use is allowed. Our future land use map has this property slated as town center. The subject property is in harmony with the use request since the property has road frontage off West Church Street. The adjacent property to the rear is O&I. As the planning board, I don't think we need to go over what the planning board has to do tonight. I think I will. You guys are professionals. You've been doing it for a long time for the town, so you know what your duties are tonight for this rezoning. And as I say, the TRC did recommend approval for this. So, Madam Chairman, I will yield now back to you for the opening of the public hearing. And I do not believe we have anybody signed up to speak, but as always, we will poll the audience to see if anybody wants to speak. And the applicant the applicant is here. So if you would like to bring him up for question, you can during the public hearing session. I yield back to you, ma'am.
So Sean, you need to close us out and see if there's any, is there any?
Yes, ma'am. Just do a motion to open the public hearing.
All right, I need a motion to close out our session to open up for public hearing at this point.
Move.
Second. All in favor? All in favor? All opposed? We are now open for public hearing. If there are any members of the audience that would like to come and speak at this time, now is the opportunity. Having none that signed up, if the owners would like to also come up at this time.
The applicant has provided pictures of some sites they did in the past. They felt it would be good for the planning board to kind of see their building style, to kind of just give you guys some insight of how they build and the different things they can do on this lot.
Good evening, my name is Alan Morrison with BBA Builders. This is Eric Campbell, he's also with BBA Builders. We probably give you some stuff to at least look at, kind of what Sean was talking about. We're proposing a single family house. Probably too much information to look at, but we don't want to leave anything unturned. If you kind of start going through it, it does have just shows the kind of dimensions of the house, of the lot right next door. It is right next door, which so you don't have to go far to see it. We have just kind of and these are kind of done on a computer, but we got the lot sitting right there with dimensions showing how far, you know, off the property corners. The next page, kind of that one staple on the left side, shows you, you know, we got residential homes. I guess the Nashville Inn is that bed and breakfast, and then we're here in the library. And if you take the bigger staple thing, it's more about the description of the property. We go into site info, context, rezoning, then our work, our concept, and then the floor plan in the back gives you a little more information, kind of what the house would look like. It's just basically a single story, probably slab on grade, vinyl sided house with a carport. It'll be built like the picture showed towards the back, and where it says our work is called the Michael plan. That's kind of what it'll look like. And you got a little more details. It does show the plan. And then it's got what the inside is going to look like, which I don't know if you care about that, but it'll be, you know, quartz countertops, LVP flooring. Towards the back, it's got the floor plan with the one-car garage with the storage room. And that lot is kind of, it's a small lot, so you really, I mean, we're doing a lot on that lot, as small as it is. You know, it's only like 52.5 feet wide, so it's a little bit bigger than this, you know, wider than this yard. It is room.
Should be one of them.
And also in here, we have our rezoning application just for, it's also a copy in the back.
What's gonna be the setback on the side?
I think, whatever the setbacks are required, I wanna say is
10 feet?
I think it's 10 feet, and in the front, I think it's 25 feet. I mean, we do have a plot plan with that on there. It wasn't shown on this drawing, but
It's in that folder.
So the width of the house basically is gonna
10-foot setback from the
Let me-
front?
just enough to
He
allow
has
the
the slot
setback.
right there. He can pull it out.
Let me get it for you.
the lot's 54 feet, 54 and 9 inches wide. Setback is like 25 foot on the front, and the sides are, I mean, we meet all the setback requirements. I mean, the back will be no problem, the front won't be a problem. Let's see.
You have it shown.
I'm about to see if I can pull that setback chart. Right.
See, I think it's 10.
It's 10, it should be 10 on the side.
Yeah, it's 10 feet on the sides, 10 feet in the back, 25 in the front.
That's correct.
So that only gives you like 35 foot to build a structure left to right. So, you know, and ours is, I think 30, whatever,
How many bedrooms?
It'll be, 3 bedrooms up, I don't know, I had my,
There's an extra packet, isn't it? There's also a house plan in there too.
yeah, there it is, I got it.
For O and I board, I'm about to pull it up over here on the computer so everybody can see it. O and I, you need 25 on the front, 10 on the side, 12.5 they had a corner side, and 10 on the rear. 4,000 square foot lots, all they need in O and I.
Yeah, it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, you got a master bathroom, and then you got a bathroom to share, that shares between the other 2 bedrooms. This little, about the third page from the back of it, it shows you a floor plan with a little plan view on it, it shows you a single car carport.
And it's showing, on floor plan, it's showing width of the house being 38 feet 4 inches, correct?
Yes, sir.
And just remember, because they are proposing residential, we're just looking at the land use, but that's what they, just when they're proposed residential, we do rezone the O and I, they are allowed to do any use in the O and I zoning district.
I mean, those dimensions, if you add the 10 feet, the 38, we can shrink that plan so it'll sit in that setback. So, I mean, because right now, if you got 38, and you add 20 feet, you got 58 feet, 4 inches, so we're a little bit under 4 feet too wide, so we'll shrink that down to
I
be.
just didn't want the Board of Adjustments to have to get involved.
Yes. Majority of these members serve on our board of adjustment.
I appreciate the sharpness in seeing that. He's looked at this before, so.
And we can do it with that carport.
Yeah. We'll do, I mean, we've done it before, we do in a lot of building in other places, we gotta meet these setbacks, so we gotta skinny it up a little bit or whatever, but the concept will still be the same, it'll be a single family house that will, sit right there.
What is the setback? Is it the foundation, or is it the side of or is it the siding of the house itself?
I say the foundation, I never count the side.
So,
because-
in other words, you can put the foundation here and have the siding sitting out here.
Right, and I will not call it.
And get it covered.
Yes, sir.
We're splitting hairs, but you're right, the soffit goes out 12 inches, so you could be right there, and then you got a 12-inch soffit on the side of your house, so. That's
I'm
pretty
glad
sure.
to see something gonna be on that line. I've been worried about it too.
What's that
Back thinking, we had a LP gas forklift stuck there for about 5 or 6 years, baby.
Oh,
It's moved on.
so
But, I mean, I don't know if you got any other questions, or?
I do. When you guys are done, I do.
Any other questions from the board?
If you can hang around after the meeting. let's
Oh, yeah,
talk.
yes.
Oh, you don't want me to do it during? Still public hearing, right?
It's still over here, so you can answer.
Yes, sir. making sure we were all good up here. Everybody on the phone is good? Thank you so much, and yes, ma'am.
Okay, Nancy from the Nashville Graphic. Is it, standard practice to rezone in this fashion from B2 to OI for a residence?
We cannot rezone for residents because that would be contract zoning, but the owner, because the way the board works is we rezone for all uses in O and I. We cannot say that, but the owner can inform the board of what they plan on doing with the lot if rezoned. The town, just as the town staff and the planning board, we cannot say that they're gonna do that. That's why I told the planning board that there's still, even if we do rezone it, even though he's proposing residential tonight, he has all rights to do any use in the O and I.
Okay, so that leads to the next question. Is there any commercial use or retail or professional service use to land?
What was the last part?
Retail or professional services?
So, I mean, the house can be used as a,
Oh, I know it's
Yeah.
allowed. I
Yeah.
mean, is that something that you think is possible? Or
that would be up to the owner of the home, you know. when
do
they-
you have a potential buyer?
No.
Okay. Do you have a anticipated sale range for said house?
It should be on the, let me see. You can see the PowerPoint. So these are traditionally affordable homes. We don't build, crazy expensive homes. So.
Is
but-
this a open kind of forum where, the only thing with building a single family home, you got maybe 2 cars coming in there. You start getting into commercial uses and then you got to deal with the parking lots and all that sort of stuff. So you got more traffic, you got handicap accessibility issues.
So not like,
I mean, that lot is so small. I mean, it's, I know one comment was that we don't want parking, I mean, just,
Right.
it's, to me, it's more suited for residential use just because the lot's so small and
Right.
trying to do commercial, I mean, unless you do a one-room barbershop or something with, 3 or 4 parking spots, it's,
Right.
Considering the block in its entirety, it's more predominant commercial. Regardless of how it's zoned, you only got 2 residences, but then you do have one, I think, on Body Street, correct?
You got one on Austin, it is O and I.
On Body Street, and there's 2, one on the corner, and the next one, those 2 are residences on Austin Street.
Correct.
I think there's 3 on Austin Street, Body Street, excuse me.
and then my last question would be, do you have if this is approved through all the channels, do you have an estimated start of construction?
Yeah, I mean, we can pretty much, once we have the building permit, we can rock and roll within a couple of weeks. So, and I got the answer back on that price point. So it's gonna be somewhere about that 250, 265 range. So it's gonna be affordable housing, below 300, which is rare, these day and age with the rates and everything like that. So,
That's all I have.
yeah, yeah.
The way it looks, I kind of clarified, zoning it the way it's being requested to zone it, it would leave it open to the owner to convert it to business.
Yes. If we,
I mean, what's to say that those other 2 residences, the one on the corner there and the next one, I think, 2 of us I know here besides me, know that Foster Parker lived in the second house, and the house on the corner was Willis Ward.
right.
And they both worked for the town of Nashville, or the county to that point. What's to say that those won't convert to some sort of institutional office of some sort, just like where the Nashville Inn was, it was Bradley's CPA, and prior to that, of course, it was a residence. And so there is a gradual transition, but what we're trying to do tonight is to put zoning on this particular piece, but then to take into consideration
That down the road.
Down the road.
And that's exactly right, Board Member Strickland. Tonight, if this does go through and pass all the proper channels for this property be O and I, the goal, not what the future goal in the town's mindset for zoning would be that as the two residents of this house decide to retire out and maybe move somewhere else, or decide to sell and downsize, that they would be rezoned to O and I later on down the road. So that if somebody did want to do that professional office space, far as a lawyer, real estate office, stuff like that, it's already set up in this area because contingent to downtown or what the future town Nashville downtown is aiming for.
That request would have to come from the actual future owner, correct?
Right.
The town would not change it, they would have to.
No, the
request
town
would
would,
have to come from the actual property.
right, it would have to come from the property owner. Now, we did send out letters to let the property owner know that this one was asked for O and I, and if they would like to come in tonight and do all of that at one time, they're more than welcome. If they wanted to wait, just kind of consider if we go O and I now, how the taxes would be for my residential houses, where the state is. You know, just so both owners do know what's going on and do know that if they want to do it, the town is more than open to working with them on rezoning their properties.
One person could buy the property and have a, Airbnb or something like that on it.
Right.
It still fits the zone.
If it's incorrect.
Mr. Reedy?
Is there a difference in the property taxes as far as the zoning there?
Now that I'm aware of, that's what one of the owners did call me and say when they got their letter, that they wanted to ask what was O and I, what could be done to O and I. And I explained to them, you know, if you do decide to rezone O and I, you can set your residential use up within the future. If you decide to sell your property, you can get more bang for your buck because you can now, instead of selling it for residential, you can say you can use for office use to be able to track that attorney, realtor, insurance agent, CPA firm to track them. And then they told me, well, let me check with the county tax office and with the town to see if I do rezone it, if my tax value would go up. Because I told them on the phone I couldn't answer that question because that's kind of out my wheelhouse to start talking about tax value. I can tell y'all about land. So they said they were going to do their research, and then they felt like it was probable for them to do that, that they would be submitting an application to the town also within the next couple of months.
All hearts and minds clear? At this point, can I have a motion that we close the public hearing and go back into our committee meeting?
I'll make the motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Madam Chairwoman, my recommendation for the planning board this evening is on page 6, right under the information from the TRC. My recommendation is, since this 2021 comprehensive plan of this property slates for town center zone district, the town center zone district is to attract the development projects for retail, professional services, office, restaurants, mixed use, institutional use, and government facilities. I recommend having this property rezoned to O and I. Since the applicant has met the requirements for rezoning through 2021 comprehensive plan for mixed use, and since the property is adjacent to O and I, not reasonable considered for spot zoning.
Committee members, are we ready to vote? Okay, Sean, it's been a long time since I've done this. Do you want me to read the motion if we approve it? Are we gonna vote first and then read the motion?
You can read the motion, Madam Chairwoman, and you don't have to read the statement of consistency. I think it all goes with everything that's in the packet. Then you can either you call for a vote first for approval or denial. Whichever way the board votes, then you can read that motion for the record.
All right, it's been a while. Yeah, so. I'm chairman, I'm real chairman as usual. All right. Okay. We are ready to vote. All in favor of the rezoning of property addressed at 106 West Church Street from B-2 to O and I. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, use the same sign.
All right.
Unanimously approved.
Yes, ma'am. If you want to read that motion, right there it says recommend approval out loud, and
Yes, sir. I move that the Town of Nashville Planning Board recommends approval of rezoning request RZ 2025-4 to rezone to the specific property to O and I, office and institutional, to allow any uses within the O and I zoning district, along with a statement of plan consistency and reasonable and recommended for the consideration to the Town of Nashville Council.
All
Do you
right.
want me to read off that?
No, you don't have to say that. And that motion was made by board member,
Mr. Chair.
Evans,
I don't know.
somebody over there, but I second.
Mr. Thomas, was it?
Somebody raise your hand.
I'll say I did.
Was-
Come on, raise your hand.
and second by Dennis.
Wasn't it Mr. Eddie? Mr.
I'll
Eddie?
say yes.
Okay, and then Mr. Strickland, wasn't it you that second? I would make sure that you're recording.
All right, we got it for the record. Thank you, ma'am. Well, Madam Vice Chair, that is all I have this evening. Our next meeting is slated for May 27th. If we have any business before the planning board, as of right now, nothing has been turned in because our TRC cutoff date would have been this week. But in case something does get turned in and we feel like it needs to come on May 27th, the TRC team can do an emergency meeting at the town for us. So I will turn it over to you for adjournment, and then we can close out.
We don't need to vote on that adjournment, right?
Just did the motion to adjourn.
All right, well, if I can have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All right, we're so adjourned until our next meeting, May 27th. Thank you all.